I had to make
I've
sure
never
my
been
face
asked
was
before
down.
to be
Did
That's
I
fair.
show you the last one?
Yeah, I had to put that face down and I had to,
Oh, it
had to
was
put the
facing
banana
up?
over it because that gets to the
You
next
just-
chapter.
Just before I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's facing down. I didn't
I
I
realize.
walked in
see
here
that it was
yeah,
facing
I
this
flipped it
way.
upside down. I was like, you can't have that. And then I was like, oh, you can't have that either.
The audiobook has a different, I think.
That's not that crazy,
Oh.
but like,
Yeah, but
you don't want.
Chapter 2.
Banana on top of it.
See that, Jen?
I love this.
Harry holding his mirror.
It's like spoon feeding everything.
It's not funny you always brought it up. I know.
And it's still just a mirror. Or is it? Why is
We
it
are going
blue?
to talk about that in
And then this is the other one.
length.
That's my cover.
Oh, it's kind of like this cover a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Of course I inspected it.
See, she can't help herself.
She can't help it.
But it's what this is what I assumed. Like, this is not a surprise to me. This is how I pictured this book going.
Yeah.
What is how you... Never mind.
You don't want to see it. So.
Yeah, I
What?
know.
Danny's over there growling.
What is so what?
Jen's like, this is how I pictured the book
And
going,
then-
so it's fine.
And then he's like,
Yeah,
so
because she
inquisitive. He's like,
peeks ahead and is
"Ugh,
like,
I can't
oh,
ask."
now I know what happens.
I don't know what
Oh,
happens. It
goodness.
doesn't show anything.
Oh, it shows you enough to know that it's what you expected.
No.
Oh, yes.
What did you think was going to happen in this book?
I don't know. I don't want to even say it out loud.
You
'cause you'll
literally
react and
answered
then
that
I'll
like
know.
last time we recorded.
Yeah, but that was when it was all hypothetical. Now 3 out of 4 are like too in tune with what might happen. Maybe it was a vision or a lie or a
Literally-
prophecy
Wait,
that
what do
didn't
you
come
mean
true.
3 out of 4?
Well, just because if Jen is saying what she expected to happen will happen.
No, I don't know. it's just like a clip of a scene that nothing is happening, but it's set up for something.
It's too much. It's too much already.
Wait, what are you talking about? A clip of a scene?
You're saying a picture.
You say,
It's a picture. That's a clip of a scene.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, that's a roundabout way to get there, but it's so true.
Did you
Oh,
see
yeah.
it somewhere? Did you see it in the audiobook?
No, the audiobook.
Are you talking
Just
about
the
the one that you
cover
just
on the
showed?
book.
The cover on the book is
Yeah.
a clip of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Screenshot. Whatever. I don't know. Words are hard sometimes.
So
Oh,
true.
trust me, I
Yeah.
know that.
Big time.
So I'm just saying I didn't spoil anything for myself or for you. Especially you, because you don't look at anything.
Exactly.
yeah. Wait, Danny, were we talking about 3 out of the 4?
No, just like because then all 3 of you guys
Oh.
would know
Things.
exactly what's up with the
Yeah.
cover or whatever, but
Yeah.
Yeah, because he thinks I'm cheating.
you know,
You got to watch out for any of that. You don't want any spoilers.
exactly. I can
So
do a
much
deep
better
dive
than
on the
spoilers.
Pottery
tease
Barn Harry Potter
myself.
collection later.
Smile. That
I like to tease
mischievous
myself.
smile. She was
Because
like, I
you know
want
how many
something.
things on Instagram I'm getting now that Brandon is sending me stuff
Yep.
for Harry
That makes
Potter.
me nervous.
I know,
stuff.
seriously.
It's okay. I like just watch a little bit and then I change it because I'm like I don't know what it's gonna show.
Yeah.
So I
And
just
people
get,
don't
like-
even realize Mel sent us one thing one time and that was strike 1 and it was the only strike. And then I was like, I'm out.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
won't
accepting
look at
any
it?
more things from friends.
Oh,
So my friend Kyle sends me stuff and I'm just like it. Ha ha ha, so funny. Or like send her a response. Sometimes I don't even look.
Yeah.
I can't wait for like
This
a
is
serious
brutal.
one.
Yeah. But if I just like it, it's like, hey, I saw it. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have seen it. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch them all one day. But
Yeah.
Not
Most
yet.
of my stuff is like product stuff. that
Yeah,
you're
for sure.
buying,
Yeah.
Or like you can rent an Airbnb or whatever.
Which those ones are really cool still.
They're really cool.
Yeah, I
So
wanna
those
go.
are the ones that I'll watch.
Yeah.
The other ones that are like, you know,
the thing Mel sent had a picture of a page from this book in it. And I only know it's this book
Oh my
now because it
gosh.
was a page I've never seen before. And it was a gravestone of
Oh,
Lily,
my
I think, or
gosh.
something. And I was like, what? And then as soon as I realized it was a page we hadn't read yet, I bailed. Because I'm like, I don't want to know these things. The dates alone could throw things off for me.
Why
So I
did
said,
she send
forget
that to
it.
you?
Well, it was
She
in a,
knows.
it was in a
She
whole
should
thing with
know
like
out of
other
everyone.
stuff. It was like she was sending something about like clever Harry Potter things you maybe didn't notice, like Easter eggs or something. I don't know if you remember that. And
That was a while ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
so
Strike one
long
was a long
ago.
time
Okay.
ago, and so I
it's like book 2.
I think the first thing was
Oh.
like something clever. It was like whatever. It was like cutesy. It didn't matter. But then I think whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, this video doesn't respect privacy.
Yeah, I am everyone is very impressed that you guys have never had spoilers, like, period, up until this point. But super impressed that while you've been in the midst of this,
it was effortless up
Yeah.
until this point.
I know.
But now all of a sudden it feels like even people just want to talk about the podcast,
Yeah.
and I just start getting stressed when it comes up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sweating over here. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
for
gotta
sure.
change the
You
subject.
get really into it. I always start off with, I don't know how it ends. I still don't know how it ends. And then I'll continue.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, we were at a wedding last weekend, and there's this my friend Kyle, his nephew is 10, reading the books for the second time. So we
Oh,
get to this
no.
place where we're all staying in this big mansion.
Illustrated
And he had the illustrated copy. I thought it was at the house, so I grab it. I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome!" I start looking through it, book 2,
Yeah.
and then I found out it was his, and he wanted to talk about it, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then I realized I don't know if 10-year-olds can comprehend the things. I'm like, I better steer away from this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about other things like football instead.
Well done. Well played. Yeah, we need to, like, lock your Harry Potter knowledge in, like, a box. We need no spoilers. We're just going to lock you guys away for another few months. Until
Perfect.
You're
done.
getting locked under the
Honey.
cupboard.
Yeah.
Under the stairs.
Yep. My boss saw the play this past weekend too, and said it was amazing. And he doesn't even know
Really?
anything about Harry Potter, but
Really?
he still thought it was amazing.
That's awesome.
So now it got me psyched for it. He said it was long, very long. But
The wait, he saw the movie?
How long?
the play.
Play.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know.
he said something like the first half before the intermission flew by. It was really awesome, but there were a couple parts of the second half that could have been cut out because there was a lot of dialogue. And he's like, maybe real fans would have like understood more about it, but he said for him it just felt a little long, but still it was great.
Oh, nice.
But, oh, awesome.
And there's a store in the city too that's like
Yeah.
an interactive
Yeah,
store
yeah.
or something.
Forgot about that.
One of my friends just went there, and everything is crazy expensive there.
Well,
City.
I know, but still, even on top of the city, they said, like, if you want to get robes there, it's like $100 for, like, your house robe.
that's your authentic.
I know, that's like the authentic one for sure.
I have a robe already, and it was
What
not
are you laughing at?
$100.
But I'm looking up prices
Only
of robes.
because I was just like, I feel like it's worth it for you.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
to be
why I'm
honest, I'm like, I'm
laughing.
talking about that's cheap. That's actually not bad for authentic Harry Potter robe. Like,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
It just, especially there's a sorting hat.
I know. Oh my goodness, that'd be
Is
incredible.
there?
whoa.
I hope there
I
is.
don't know. I'm
Cool.
just speculating.
I feel
want
like
a
there's one in
sorting hat.
Universal.
Yeah.
Wes, what are you doing?
Probably. I feel like they keep getting better and better.
I
in
know.
Universal, and we're missing out.
I know.
I know.
Seriously.
We were supposed to be there a long time ago.
Wait, so next year?
A year ago. But we're
Well,
gonna
by
be
next
there.
year, by September, we need to be in London, obviously.
Oh,
For
because
September
Yeah,
1st.
I'm not
100%.
sure if our August trip's happening anymore.
Oh, that's a good point. Our
Oh,
August
I
trip
know,
with
for
you,
sure
John,
not. Yeah,
it
for
seems
sure.
a
It's
little
definitely not,
unlikely.
right?
It's a definitely no.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It's a
that's
definite
good.
no.
All right, fair enough. I
That's
was
what I
hoping the
thought.
climate would change by then.
He's
I
like,
know
maybe
it-
we have time. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's more time for us to spend in London and Scotland and
Exactly.
Florida.
Exactly.
Yep.
Is that how we're doing it?
Yep.
Well, I guess, yeah. Well, it'll actually probably start
boy.
with Florida because it's the easiest one. And it would be cool to go to King's Cross
Yeah.
on September 1st. But that timing is
That's
tough.
Very crowded.
Yeah, for
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think the easiest one is going to be, there's a few things in New York City that we'll do. And
Nice,
There's like
yeah.
there's a Harry Potter experience. It used to be in Philly, and I think they travel.
I was gonna say that's the traveling.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know where it is now, but if it's anywhere near us, I hear that is phenomenal. I hear it's incredible.
Really?
So we'll definitely do that too. We have a bunch of
Cool.
stuff we're gonna do outside of just book discussions. But we'll get there when we get there.
And
I
our
like it.
viewers will be live with us.
Yeah, for sure. We could live stream the whole thing.
Oh, I thought you
Figure
meant
out how to
live
do
with us
that.
like face to face.
Yeah.
I mean,
Meet us
whatever John
here.
wants to do.
If we get 1,000 subscribers, then we can do a live stream on a phone. You can't do a live stream on anything. You can't do a phone
Wow, I
live
didn't know
stream on
they
YouTube
restricted.
Guys, come
without
on.
1,000 subscribers.
go.
We have 777
Get your
right
friends.
Wow,
And
cool.
them
That's
all to
awesome.
subscribe.
James Zawowski, thank you for becoming a hot tamale.
Woo!
Oh, he is a hot
Yeah.
tamale. I can
New
tell
hot
by the
tamale.
name.
Yeah, it's a hot tamale name right there.
Big hot tamale energy.
Okay, we are. What's a good?
Just started singing that big energy song. What's that? I got big energy or something.
Yeah.
I don't even do
I
that.
know that
don't know
song
if I
because
can know
Dude Perfect has played that song. My nephew watches
Oh,
Oh,
dude,
okay.
it. And
Perfect
one
is
time
great.
I listened to it and I was like, what are they saying?
Like,
I've never
uh-oh.
actually
Big-
listened to the.
Sometimes big energy can sound like a BDE. You know what BDE is?
And what are the chances that they just had to make that for the radio edit? Like, what if the real song actually
sure,
is
I
that?
know.
It probably
Like,
is.
The
Probably.
real song is that. So I remember my nephews were watching Dude Perfect and they had that song, and I texted my brother. I was like, are they saying BDE rather than big energy? Because it kind of sounds like it, and it's a really not appropriate song for this, but I think it's normal.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, you're gonna look it up. Easy. Don't look. Be
I'm
careful
gonna
for
look
what
up
you're
the
looking
song.
up. Yeah, I know. But
Okay.
still.
Well,
Who sings that?
I have no idea. It's a good question. What's a good intro question that we could do for this? I'm trying to think of these two chapters. Ooh, we'll talk about the Dursleys in a bit, but just how are you guys liking? We're only 3 chapters in. It's been like a month, and it's only like 3 chapters in. But sorry.
We're gonna be at this. For
How are
another
you guys
10
liking
years.
it so far? Is it leading? Is it going places you thought it would go? What's your expectation versus reality for the book?
I always like the action stuff or like the answers, right? And right now, it's just more questions.
Yeah, you're getting a lot more questions,
It
especially
feels
in
a
the
little
Maureen
like
chapter.
slow to me.
I feel like that must be our pace,
I
not
know,
the
that's what I
actual
was
book,
thinking.
to be fair. But
Yeah.
You're right.
It is. Wow.
classic.
Oh, it went away. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe.
Anyway, sorry.
You know what? The first chapter was just so action packed and crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that. And now it's
Well,
like
I
we took
guess,
a
yeah,
brief
'cause we
step
took a while.
back,
Yeah.
but brief.
Yeah.
And it was 2 chapters, but I feel like this in other books this might have just been 1 chapter. Like they were 2 short chapters of just Dursley time, and it was just kind of another reminder of Harry is not planning on going back to Hogwarts. At least doesn't feel like it. So this might be the most normal bit we get, and even this wasn't normal. He's like saying goodbye, and Dudley's being, I'll say, kind, and so. Yeah, I'm liking the start. It's a good start.
You got another
Yeah.
detective here where he keeps bringing up that mirror.
I know. Finally, the mirror came up
It
again.
finally came back. I was starting to doubt it. You know, as with any of these things, after a while, I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a throwaway. But then it's like, it can't be. It just can't be a throwaway. But now I still, it's like, what's it going to do? And why was it blue? This came from Sirius. What's the deal with blue? And Harry's green. That's all he remembers from his childhood. So I don't know. Blue was weird.
Yeah, but then he saw a blue eye, right?
Yeah, because
But it was his thoughts of Dumbledore maybe that made it do something.
I don't know.
Because he said he thought
He
it was
also-
Dumbledore looking back at him.
But he
But that's-
also had some light came out of it, right? The blue light is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it like confused him. But I feel like that might have just been like funny timing. But Sirius gave it to him when he was
No,
alive,
I don't think so.
right? Like Sirius gave it to him as a gift, and if I'm far away or whatever, here it is. So it's not like it holds the memories of some. Actually, maybe it does. Maybe it holds memories of
What
Sirius.
color eyes did Sirius have?
Black.
That's what I would have
I don't know.
John.
It's gonna be like a
Um,
trivia question.
I would say brown.
Serious.
I would say
gray.
Whoa.
Gray. That's a color.
People looking at
I didn't know.
eyes.
Yeah, I guess it's like really light blue.
Hmm.
That'd probably be what gray is. I've never seen anybody with gray eyes. I've seen dogs with gray eyes, but never a human.
Yeah.
I've read books with characters that have gray eyes,
They're in books. Nice.
so it's a real thing.
Big time.
You said it so confidently, like you knew
I
someone.
know.
that had gray eyes. Oh, that was funny.
It could be real.
Yeah, the mirror is one we're going to talk about for this chapter, but it's a weird thing that pops up. On top of the fact that it's just disgusting. Harry is a disgusting human being. For his
7
bag.
years?
7 years. He's never cleaned out his
Dude.
bag.
That's a typical
I'm gonna read that line.
Wait,
for you. That is absolutely
I don't think
reprehensible.
I captured that.
I'll read that back to you because that is
Okay.
disgusting.
It's a
How
typical
it
teenage-
describes
like a-
it.
A
Young
boy?
boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of us were that disgusting when we were teenagers.
Yeah, I don't know. Only because when you're a
Definitely.
teenager, from the time you're 11 to 17, like
Yeah.
it's one thing if it's 7 years when you're an adult and
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, from when I moved into an apartment at 25 to 32, that like kind of makes sense. But
It's like-
at this point, this is like he was a child and now he is a man, and he did not touch the bottom
But
of his
look,
box.
bottom
he
fourth of his
should have
box.
gone home to a set of parents that were teaching
Fair.
him these things.
That's fair.
Because they'd go in his room and look at the bag and be like, this is disgusting. Clean it out.
Yes, that's true, but at the same time, I
Sometimes-
don't know if that's just an excuse. I feel like you're Harry. No, not your Harry. I feel like Harry.
Yeah.
You're
I'll fight
17.
you.
I was like, you're about to turn 17.
You just said
You don't have an
I know,
excuse for.
I gave him a look.
No, didn't mean that. I think that then his parents dying thing is just an excuse, even though it sounds terrible.
No!
So true.
No, I'm just saying, even me as a kid, I didn't like think of certain things
Yeah, for sure.
to do. It's like, this is common sense. That's going to be disgusting. Take care of it. Clean it. Like, if you're not, I'm the type that certain things, this is why maybe I am Harry. If you're not being told
Yeah.
to do something, I'm not necessarily going to think of it.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? And
As
he
a
had
kid,
like piles
yeah.
of things on
Yeah.
top of it. So he's not seeing the
Yep.
bottom. So out of sight, out of mind.
But there's a point in book 5, even in book 5, where
You're gonna
remember,
stand on this hill, aren't you?
remember, I'm gonna die on this hill. I will. There's not a hill I won't die on. Someone said that line once, and I love that line. There's a point in the 5th book when Tonks,
Twice.
yeah, when Tonks goes up to Harry to help him pack,
Oh yeah.
and Harry's like hiding his underwear behind his back, but I'm like, in that moment, Tonks should have just seen that and been like, Harry, this is disgusting.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you please clean out? Let's
Yep.
Scourgify or whatever, the
Yeah,
cleaning
yeah,
spell
yeah.
is. Just clean it all out real quick and then
Yeah.
repack. Because he was throwing stuff in there. Tonks saw his probably his gross thing. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's disgusting.
And there's got to be some rainy day at Hogwarts where you don't feel
Yeah.
like doing much. You're just in your room. There's
And
not
you
that much
feel
to
like
do.
cleaning.
But the thing is, with magic, it would be so easy.
Now, yeah.
You just like unpack everything. You're just like bloop, and then it all lays out, and then you take out the garbage, and then you bloop,
That would
do
be
another spell.
amazing.
Again, this is from a 30-year-old perspective.
Yeah, but I feel
We
like it's
I don't think we
still.
were that disgusting. I just don't remember myself being that disgusting when I was
You
like, I was
probably
in a
blacked
knee freak.
it out
Ask your
because
mom.
you're a
Ask your
minimalist
mother.
now, and you're like,
True. But okay, so this is
Next
I
time.
wasn't like no teenage boy is the cleanest, but I think every teenage boy has a moment where you're like, okay, I'm living in filth right now. I need to like clean up. Like I would have like
You hit
maybe
that,
like
yes.
twice
I
a year
don't know
where I would
because I worked
completely
with coworkers that
I
their
have heard
sneakers smelled so bad because they were like old socks, old sneakers,
Yeah.
and like greasy hair. No, like Snape.
Snape
you
smells bad. Snape, what is the smell of Snape? I think we asked that
Ew.
question on one podcast.
I don't
Garbage,
remember
probably.
asking.
Yeah, smells like garbage.
Definitely greasy.
Some like fish smell. I feel like there's a fish smell that lingers around them. You know?
Huh.
I'm just thinking, yeah, like
That would be
the,
nasty.
Mm.
like the teenage boys like don't bathe and they're like sweating
Yeah,
and greasy
yeah.
and they just like body odor and
Yeah.
grease. And potions though. Imagine
Oh
potions
yeah, like
sticking
some
to
mixed
that.
in weird
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
like
smells
the
from whatever he's
smoke and
brewing.
stuff sticking to his hair.
He's like a
Maybe-
chef, but in a bad
But
way.
maybe he does greasy hair so it doesn't stick the smells to his hair.
It's part of
Just-
his strategy.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
All right.
So he doesn't smell bad all the time. Good strategy.
Or maybe he's clean and the potions make him greasy. Why am I sticking up for him?
I don't know.
The potions
We all
make
hate
him greasy.
Snape, so. Well, we're going to talk about this more, but welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen.
This is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. We're going to carry on this discussion because Harry is disgusting. But can you guys give me a very quick summary of In Memoriam, Chapter 2?
No. I forgot about the summaries,
I'm ready.
Guys. Good, because I wrote nothing.
All right, I'll bear the burden. Harry has to stay with the Dursleys for a few more days. He packs for a mission, not school. We learn about Dumbledore in the eulogy from Elphias Dodge or Doge, who was Dumbledore's friend. Rita makes Harry and us mad with her effort to sell her new scandalous anti-Dumbledore book.
Nice.
Perfect. And one of the opening
Forgot
lines of
about
this
that.
chapter, which we just talked about. Harry had spent the morning completely emptying his school trunk for the first time since he had packed it 6 years ago. That is just disgusting. That's so gross. Teenage boy aside, that is disgusting. I'm just going to say that.
Yup.
Yeah.
I forgot. Does it say what else was in there?
Yeah, it
Besides
did
the
list
mirror?
out a few things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a self-cleaning bag. Keeping the grime away.
Ew.
Old quills, desiccated beetle eyes. Is that
Yeah.
word?
Just
I don't know
kidding,
that word.
not self-cleaning.
Single socks that no longer fit.
Didn't he have
and
dirty socks?
broken
He kept
mirrors.
stuff in his bag too. Like, remember there was something with dirty socks. He put
Yeah, a sneakoscope in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
And the
Yep.
sneakoscope
Nice,
is broken
Jen.
now. That's what it said in here somewhere, which is unfortunate. A cracked and worn out sneakoscope.
what was that again to tell
And
you
a
when
pin that
something's
says-
bad?
Cedric Diggory.
Yeah, the
Yeah, it's
badge.
like if someone's sneaking. Someone's up to no good.
He broke both things though.
Yeah.
That's
Harry
so-
breaks everything.
Yeah.
He's not very responsible.
And do you know why he put the sneakoscope in a sock?
Wasn't it to hide it from someone?
I was
it-
thinking it was like it was making noise. It was always.
It kept spinning. When
Yeah.
did he do that? Do you remember when he did that?
Yeah, Mad Eye Moody. When he
I thought it
was-
was Scabbers.
It was
Polyjuice.
Scabbers. I think it was book 3 was Scabbers because it was spinning like crazy. So I think he just threw it in one of the socks the Dursleys gave him, so it stopped.
That's right.
But if they just listened to it,
I forgot.
you think it's like a
And
broken
they said
sneakoscope,
it
but
was
it wasn't.
going off when
And it went
they were
off.
together.
Mhm.
a
Yep.
It
couple
went off
times.
when they got on the train, and that's why it was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, don't trust that sleeping dude next to you on
Exactly.
the train." But they kept discussing secrets anyway.
And Jen, you're even right too because Moody's all his sneakoscopes were going off like crazy in his office, but he attributed it to all the bad things that students were doing, not to his own self.
Yeah, that was good.
So
I knew there was a lot during then.
Yeah.
During those times where we were really good detectives.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were.
Mm-hmm.
But you're
The
gonna go
good
back
old
and
days.
see all that kind of stuff, and it's gonna be fantastic.
The good old days.
Well, you still got it.
I don't know about that.
You're here.
But what I will say is Harry's blood is now in another location. Lock this house down. Protect his blood.
Do you think that they're gonna make a clone of Harry or something like that? What do you
I
think
don't know
do with
what
the
they're going to
blood?
do, but his blood is too powerful to be leaving around. And JK is
It's
too fiendish
everywhere.
to be throwing that in there for no reason. I mean, granted, it was a funny moment of all the blood. You're like, what happened to Harry? And then it's like, oh, he's just clumsy. That's fine. Dirty and clumsy Harry.
Oh yeah, I love how they started.
But I don't
that.
like
She
his
started a chapter.
his blood around. It's not good. Because now his blood is in a couple different places.
Wait, where are the couple different places?
Well, we can assume that Umbridge got some of his blood with her
Yeah.
quill.
Yeah.
You
And then
have
it's
a
certainly
chart, don't you?
here. No, I didn't. I don't have a blood chart.
I thought you would.
And then I don't know if it's anywhere else other than when they cut his arm to bring back Voldemort.
Mm.
No, when he had to cut his hand to get what's his name back home. The last book. What's Dumbledore?
Dumbledore. He had to cut his hand
Yeah.
and did.
He was
drip.
already cut, but he had to
Yeah.
put the blood sacrifice back onto the rock so that the rock would let him through. You know that little thing.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
There too.
Harry's blood's all over the place now.
So Harry's blood is literally in the cave that where Voldemort was keeping a Horcrux, which is a little
Yeah,
alarming.
but I feel like what's a little drop? What are we gonna do with that?
I don't know, but I don't
Don't
like
you
it.
need vials?
Well, what I was thinking is it could be something used to track Harry down. You know, you put your blood in there, and then it's like it could guide you to the rest of the.
It already sounds like they can track him in a second. They're like counting down to his birthday.
Yeah.
It's like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, this is getting intense.
Yeah,
the timing of it all and the fact that they're I'm surprised. Oh, but I guess if the protection is up immediately, I don't know, it just feels weird.
We're going ahead.
Yeah, you're right. We're cruising. But
I want to hold on this point for a little bit because there was a huge question in book 4 about blood, and I don't know if we realized it at that point, but I want to just bring it back. This is the line. I just want to make sure I don't read anything else.
Nice.
Hold on, sorry. Give me just a quick hot second. I'm gonna pull up full text.
fiendish. This is why I can't go back.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things I wanted to go back and check is our man Alpheus Doge, because I wrote the name down, but I wrote it down as Alpheus, but I can't remember if I wrote that because it was a chapter we listened to, and that's what it sounded like, because he was in Order of the Phoenix in the picture that Moody showed to Harry. So what are the chances there are two brothers, one named Alpheus and one named Alpheus? Pretty fiendish. Or it's the same guy and it was just a clerical error on my part. But either way, I like this dude Alpheus. Did I buy you enough time, John?
Oh, sorry. I don't know why it's not coming up.
Maybe I'm just confused.
Elpheus and Alpheus?
Yeah, because Alpheus is the one who wrote the eulogy for Dumbledore, the one that we like, who was Dumbledore's friend from back in the day. But this is the second time a Doge has come up. And the other one, I am leaning towards it was just a administrative error on my part writing my character list. It must have been a chapter that we listened to when Moody was talking to Harry about the Order of the Phoenix picture that his parents were in and stuff. And he said one of those people was Alpheus Doge. So he's in the Order of the Phoenix. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, all right, that's awesome.
He obviously knows him well. Look
Yeah. So I feel like this is the same one.
You're probably right. And John
it makes us very much trust him.
Or not confirm that.
No, he won't.
He doesn't confirm anything. No giveaways.
No. There have been a few times he's corrected us to keep us somewhat on the right track.
I haven't corrected you guys that much, but there's been a few small little things.
Yeah, just to keep us from going crazy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's us just
you
misremembering.
Said, like McGonagall is his grandmother.
Yeah, but that was a theory. That's different. I think John corrects us if we misremember something and theorize off of false information. But if we're theorizing wildly, but at least on correct base knowledge, then that's different.
And I've gotten a lot of
kind of followed.
I've gotten a little pushback on that. Some people want me to correct you guys on certain things, but I don't necessarily want to do that for almost anything. For some things I will, but like for really small things I will. But I want you guys to run rampant with your theories. And if you're way off, then to realize you're going to be way off at the end. But here's a line that I was talking about that has to do with blood. Thanks for buying me a little time. I finally found it. There are 2 paragraphs. He said my blood would make him stronger than if he'd used someone else's, Harry told Dumbledore. He said the protection my mother left in me, he'd have it too. And he was right. He could touch me without hurting himself. He touched my face. For a fleeting instant, Harry thought he saw a gleam of something like triumph in Dumbledore's eyes. But the next second, Harry was sure he had imagined it. For when Dumbledore had returned to his seat behind the desk, he looked as old and as weary as Harry had ever seen him.
Oh, I remember saying that.
Remember that golden look of triumph in his eyes?
And the old thing that he said. And I was like, he's going to die.
Yeah. So that had to do with blood, too. As soon as Harry mentioned the blood that they used Harry's blood in this thing. That's when Dumbledore
had some relief.
His own defeat. I feel like
but how would that lead to defeat?
I don't know. Maybe it's timed. Once he turns 17, maybe his blood spell changes on him.
His blood spell.
Because you're talking about Harry leaving his blood as a bad thing all around the place. What if it's actually a good thing? Because
it's protection. Very interesting. So then there'd be protection on the cave. But then, no, because Voldemort already touched his face, and his face has blood in it.
Yeah.
So maybe raw blood is different than face blood.
I think I need to hear that again, though. The touching the face. What is it? That Voldemort touched his face?
Yeah, like when they were in the cemetery.
Because previously he wasn't able to. Voldemort was never able to touch Harry.
Like in Quirrell form.
Yeah, in Quirrell form he wasn't. In the Chamber of Secrets he didn't touch Harry at all. We missed him in book 3, and then book 4 when he was resurrected, he was finally able to touch Harry and not die from it.
And Voldemort wasn't able to die.
Yeah.
And that would be triumphant for Harry.
Well,
because he smirked or something.
Yeah, there was a twinkle we're reading as something, that Harry thought was triumph. Fleeting look. So, I like it.
Well,
it's weird though.
But it's not much to go on.
Wouldn't you want him to not be able to touch
Exactly,
you?
Yeah,
you would want that. Maybe.
That's what a restraining order is for. Here's another line. We'll talk about those as we go on too.
You're funny.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks. It says he recognized it at once. It was a 2-inch long fragment of the enchanted mirror that his dead godfather Sirius had given him. Harry laid it aside and felt cautiously around the trunk for the rest. But nothing more remained of his godfather's last gift except a powdered glass, which clung to the deepest layer of debris like glittering grit. Again, that's gross. But what is the deal with this mirror? We were talking about that before, and at the very end, there is the line where you see. Oh, here it is.
Color.
He peered into the mirror fragment again and saw nothing but his own bright green eye looking back at him. He had imagined it. There was no other explanation. Imagine it, because he had been thinking of his dead headmaster. If anything was certain, it was that the bright blue eyes of Albus Dumbledore would never pierce him again. But I even missed some of the quote. It said he looked in the mirror and a flash of brightest blue. Harry froze, his cut finger slipping on the jagged edge of the mirror again. He had imagined it. He must have done. He glanced over his shoulder, but the wall was a sickly peach color of Aunt Petunia's choosing. So he sees this flash of brightest blue, thinking it's Dumbledore's eyes.
Wait, he saw a flash of blue, and then he looked in the mirror and saw blue eyes. Or is it trying to say the flash of blue appeared as the blue eyes in the mirror? Does that make sense?
Yeah. What do you what's your
I know,
interpretation of
you
that?
A part of me thinks that maybe because Harry was looking at the mirror, Dumbledore, if we believe what we want to believe, that he's not really dead and somehow put his body somewhere.
what the?
Spirit. You started with that, and I liked it. So I went along with it.
Cool. Nice.
And now
But it was a wild theory when I said it, but it sounds better when you say it.
okay.
Wait, what did he do?
Wait, I'm not done.
I know, that's why I'm asking what he did.
So you have to use the mirror to like look into the mirror for someone to be on the other side, right?
Mhm.
To call someone.
Yes.
So I wonder if
Wait,
somehow.
is the other side? No, mind, keep going.
Yes, let me. Maybe because Harry finally looked into the mirror, that like opened this portal for Dumbledore to like appear in things that he can appear in, like a Horcrux, but like opposite. Like he can move through items to like talk to you.
Interesting.
Nah, I don't know.
Wait.
But anyways, I'm not done.
All right, keep going.
So he looks in the mirror, and then Dumbledore can appear, but that's why there was a blue flash. And then when he looked at the mirror again, he saw his eye for a second.
Dumbledore's eye.
But I don't have the text in front of me, so I don't know the order. So I could be wrong. Because did the flash happen, he saw his own eyes, and then he saw Dumbledore's eyes?
Well, he was thinking of Dumbledore and the lies with which Rita Skeeter was defaming him. A flash of brightest blue. So that was like 2 paragraphs. Defaming him, new paragraph, a flash of brightest blue, period. Harry froze. So it was like that moment of like, as he was thinking of Dumbledore, there was the flash.
Yeah,
so
but did he look in the mirror first?
No, the mirror was just sitting on the bed next to him.
You
In
sure
fact,
he
the
didn't
broken
look
bit
at
of
it?
mirror danced away from him. He picked it up and turned it over in his fingers. Okay, so it wasn't next to him. So it was just in his fingers. He was like fiddling with it, but thinking of other things. So it's
Isn't that what you did? You thought of the person. That's
wait.
So
What you
when-
did?
Okay, so with Sirius Black, what was it? You would think of it?
Well,
to
we don't know.
call?
Well, I was speculating that Sirius had one too, and it was like a mirror cell phone. You pull it out and you look in it and you can like talk to him or
Because
something.
that also reminds me of the Mirror of Erised, where you're thinking
Yeah.
of something while you're looking in the mirror and it appears.
Well, that's what I was thinking. This could be like desire. It could be not really, because we're saying Dumbledore, right? But Dumbledore didn't give this to him. Sirius did. And Sirius was like, I forget what he said, but something along the lines of, if I feel far away, or if you're like, if you miss me, look at this thing. So maybe it would be a little thing that Harry, it's like a mini Mirror of Erised that he can just look at, and the thing that he misses, he'll see. So in this moment, he misses Dumbledore. He sees that flash of blue, but doesn't fully understand it. And then maybe that was Dumbledore in the mirror. Not a real Dumbledore, but just like same as the
I want it
Mirror
to
of
be
Erised.
real.
No, I would too, but like, it's like Harry is just seeing his parents, maybe just an idea of his parents. Ron is just seeing fame and Quidditch and whatever. In this case, I don't think Sirius or Dumbledore or anyone else is trapped in the mirror or communicating through it. I think it's a projection of Harry's desire to maybe give him comfort.
Trapped.
Well, not trapped, but like I was thinking it would be closer to the journal, if anything, the journal that Voldemort was in, like a piece of him, but I don't think it would be him or Sirius or Dumbledore or whatever.
I think it's just a way of communicating.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say.
But what if it is a Dumbledore Horcrux, but a good kind of Horcrux?
I just can't believe a wizard like him, that's so powerful, so smart, that it's like said in this article,
Yeah.
can just die and not have a backup plan in a time of war.
But
That's what I think is crazy.
to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure.
Okay.
You're looking at me like, John, shut up. That was a stupid thing to say.
No, it's a great thing to
I
say.
was trying to figure out what it was from.
No, because
It's not Lord. This is Harry Potter. I just quoted Harry
yeah,
Potter.
Dumbledore said that.
Like that was from this, right?
It was because usually we would quote Lord of the Rings. It's true, but no, that's actually from this. And Dumbledore says that because he tells Voldemort that death isn't such a big deal. He says to Harry, and like to Voldemort, death is the worst thing. And then Dumbledore is like, yeah, but also death isn't that bad because Voldemort doesn't understand everything. And so we are comforted in that kind of, but
to Jen's point as well, why didn't he not? What's his backup plan? Like it's up until this point, it doesn't seem like Dumbledore had any kind of backup plan, but he had to have a backup plan.
a backup plan with blood.
Yeah, because the fact that he was like willing to be like, leave me if something goes wrong and I die, you have to leave.
Yeah, that's why I think it's got to be a prophecy or something else that like Dumbledore knew it was like not a big deal if he died. He might have even known that Harry can't win this battle if he's still around.
Or like you guys were talking a while ago, like a will. Like, is there something like a will that like Albus left for, like what that lays out his backup plan, or is his portrait supposed to tell you what the backup plan is? So is Harry going to get back into like the headmaster's office and try to figure it out and face to face with Dumbledore's portrait?
That would be pretty awesome, actually, but sad. Maybe. We'll see.
Also, go ahead.
Is he going to school? I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Because his school and Quidditch robes, cauldron, parchment, quills, and most of his textbooks were piled in a corner to be left behind. So if he goes to Hogwarts, it doesn't seem like it's going to be for school. It would be either later and he'll come back to get this stuff. I don't think so though. Or he would only go to school if it was part of the mission, because he did bring the Marauder's map. And that's only useful at Hogwarts. So there's a part of him that thinks he might end up at Hogwarts, but not for school. That's what I'm gathering. So
But maybe that's where he's meeting Hermione and Ron.
To bring them with him. Ooh.
They did say right in the last book. They said something about you're not going without us, or we're coming.
Yeah,
with
and he did like agree, and I feel like he at least could see now that it's worth it.
Dumbledore kind of said that too.
And then he's going to stay with a member of the Order, right? Or like at a house of someone from the Order when he leaves.
That's different than the Dursleys.
Privet Drive. Yeah. They're not in the
Why
Order.
is he leaving Privet Drive early though?
Wait, is it early?
Leaving early.
He's kind of leaving early.
Because I was
leaving
thinking,
on his birthday.
Yeah, which is like the exact moment that the protection would be lifted.
Yeah.
So to me, that felt like on time.
Yeah,
like
for
almost
sure.
like what they're saying is the protection of the house is so valuable, it's not worth missing a single day of that protection. Where I'm thinking, just leave a week early. And sure, the house protection is gone, but just go on to another protection at the Order of the
But then
Phoenix,
I'm
where you're going to be
thinking,
next week anyway.
Is this protection similar to like the parents' protection with that secret keeper thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or, like, you
like
can't
Dumbledore,
find
it
them
seemed to
at all.
think that there was value in staying the full term of your childhood for the protection. So either way, Harry is doing that. And rather than trying to prepare Privet Drive for an assault, they're deciding to move. So, and no longer a side-by-side apparition. Now it's something else.
They were
Intense.
gonna apparate with the Dursleys, which we'll talk about in a little bit, which would be hilarious to see.
That'd be a really loud pop.
Yeah. Well, two really loud pops followed by like just a skinny pop.
For each
Skinny pop.
There you go.
For each cheek.
For each cheek.
Like that's how big they each are. It'd be like for one.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Roughly the
Right?
size of a baby orca.
Maybe you would die on this last one.
We were talking about Dumbledore as well, but this chapter has two odes to Dumbledore, I guess. Not really odes. One's not really an ode, but one is. Do you think that Dumbledore was really as good as you think he was?
Better.
Better?
Yeah, kind of. This makes him look even better. I don't know. I think he.
So you trust Alpheus Doge more than you trust Rita Skeeter.
Wow,
It's just
crazy
an
thought.
obvious one.
Oh yeah, I think Rita's under the Imperious curse. Are you kidding me? That was
Interesting.
nuts. That was
So
nuts.
this is propaganda.
I think I started to like Rita just a little bit at the end of her whole drama with Hermione and writing the story from Harry's perspective, bringing stuff to light. I actually started to like Rita a little bit, and to the point where it was me being optimistic and jumping to conclusions, but I was thinking she'll come to the light. She's right there. She understands this. I genuinely thought she believed Harry, and I'm like, you know what? I think she's good now, or is going to be.
Yeah.
So this felt like too big of a change of pace of what I imagined her. So it's either infuriating, 40% chance, or 60% chance there's something else going on. They captured one of her relatives and they're holding them hostage to force her to write this. Maybe there was never even an interview with Rita Skeeter, and they actually just got to the woman who did the interview of Rita Skeeter at Rita's home, because this is just an article. So if they've infiltrated the Prophet, they could write an article about anything. It's libel. Who cares? It's like in these times, libel is a pretty minor war crime, you know? So they just write a little thing from the perspective of whoever this lady was. What was the name of this lady?
I don't
I
remember.
forgot what her name
But
was.
the article about Rita, it wasn't even written by Rita. It was written by another lady who was interviewing Rita about her
a
book.
book.
So what I'm saying is there are so many layers to this. I'm not convinced Rita is bad, but Rita is a name with some credibility. So you throw that name out there, whether she's under Imperious, whether this other lady who wrote the article is trouble, or whether it's all just garbage and it's Voldemort sitting behind a typewriter at the Prophet, like doodly-doo-doo-doo,
I mean,
writing up
no
an
matter
article.
what, I think it's almost impossible to write 900 pages in 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
That's absurd.
And maybe the book doesn't even exist because it doesn't need to.
there's
The point
magic.
of this, honestly, that's so true. You set your quills or your
Very
house
true,
elves
yeah.
to do ghostwriting for you while you
Yeah.
sleep.
This is definitely ghostwritten.
guys are
Definitely a
nuts.
ghostwritten book. Or like she has numerous quick quotes quills writing every chapter for her.
But let's say it is true. Who's her source?
Yeah.
A
great
very
question.
juicy source?
Yeah.
Like who?
Harry or Voldemort.
Who knew the Dumbledores well? That's a great question. Who's the source? We have a lot of interesting questions. We have who's the
Yeah,
prisoner
Exactly what I said.
in Malfoy Manor? Who's the source?
Oh.
Even
yeah,
Snape.
each
Remember?
chapter we
Yeah.
had.
Remember Snape talked about a source as well for the
Yep.
information that he got. Is this the same source that Rita's getting her stuff from? Is this a different source?
They have another one captured.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird unanswered questions right now. At
The
the moment.
house elf of the Dumbledores.
Ooh. Do you think that they would have a house elf? That's an interesting question.
Wow, I thought of them as
Yeah.
being really poor.
Hmm.
Dumbledore had to cancel his trip around the world to help his family.
But it is a wealth thing?
Hmm.
I didn't know. Did I miss that?
You know,
somewhere?
I thought house elves were always a wealth thing.
Yeah. They generally are like the
Oh.
Weasleys don't have house elves. They would like a house elf, but they
Oh,
don't because
I
they're a
guess
little
I
too
never
poor.
even processed that.
Oh, I didn't either.
Or they're like family things.
I
Like
thought it was like generational, like it just got passed down.
But
With-
yeah, but
with
that's
the
like
blacks, it kind of
generational
is.
wealth. It's
Yeah.
the kind
Wait,
of
can
feel.
it skip a generation? Like you're wealthy, wealthy. Oh, not wealthy anymore, and you still have a house elf.
I mean, that's probably
Yeah.
Sirius. Sirius isn't
fair.
well. I mean, Sirius does have a ton of wealth like stored up, so he's still good. But
All right, well,
And
they're
wait,
both.
And we don't, RAB. If it's the person we think it is, then how
Regulus Black.
did Harry get all of Sirius's stuff? If Regulus isn't part of his family, maybe Regulus already faked his death, so the will didn't pass it to him. But no, in Magic World, they would know, right?
I'm not following you exactly.
Oh, so my point is Harry got all of Sirius's stuff. But if Sirius has a brother, where's Regulus when he died to get all his stuff? Or is Regulus not a part of it?
Like
Or
undercover,
were the
if
assets
that's
split?
True, because if he betrayed the dark side,
So maybe he's undercover and he was cut off from inheritance when he left
maybe he's
to
an
be a Death Eater?
animagus too.
Interesting, yeah.
Oh.
So we 100% know that Harry owns Grimmauld Place, and we know that because he was able to summon
Wow.
Creature.
Except for my theory
He
that
doesn't
Bellatrix
believe
got
Sure.
there early
and
you
told
know.
Creature, and she told Creature to go.
Right.
So like, there's a little bit hanging over there.
Yeah.
Would there at all be a possibility that Regulus was doing the same thing? If you think this is Regulus, the brother.
Oh, you mean Regulus doing what the
What
thing with
Bellatrix
Harry?
did?
Yeah, I think
Or-
that's possible. Yeah, but I
Or
also
if Harry owns a house, what would the possibility be of him? Is he still in the picture? Is he dead? Is he like hiding as an animagus, like you said? Is he doing
I
something
think of him
other?
as hiding
Okay.
and still out on missions. Do you think of him as hiding somewhere?
Yeah.
I thought maybe
Undercover.
he was the family favorite at the beginning because he was a Death Eater, and it seems like the Black family is pretty dark, and maybe when he went good, the Black family cut him off completely, and then in that time,
But what about Sirius?
yeah, but in that time, Sirius's mom could have passed away. Sirius ran away from home when he was 16, right?
I don't
Was there a
remember.
death in the
I'm
family when he
learning
was
this all
16?
over
So maybe he was the one who was inheriting the whole house, and his brother was already cut off. Like, you're no longer my son, forget, now that you're good, I want you to be gone. And then Sirius gets it all when his parents pass away. Maybe that's why he ran away. He didn't want to live in the house that reminded him of his parents when he was young. So he ran away to live with the Potters, because that all happened when he was 16. And then Regulus never came home to comfort him. Maybe Regulus did come home and they hate each other. So many questions.
I mean, Sirius didn't talk about his life that much anyway.
But Harry doesn't
Yeah.
ask questions about people's lives because he's too
Because he doesn't know
self-focused.
anything about Dumbledore at all.
He doesn't know anything about Sirius. He didn't even ask Sirius or Hagrid about his parents, like, in any
Yeah.
real way. And, like, he doesn't know anything
his
about
parents
Dumbledore
or their parents.
either. But not even his own parents, like Harry's parents. Where I'm thinking, if you're talking to Dumbledore, you're talking to Hagrid, like, ask them all the questions, especially Sirius.
Yeah.
I'm like, start from the beginning. Hey, Sirius, tell me everything there is to know. Oh, I lived with the Potters. Oh, wow, I never thought about it. You never even met your parents, let alone your grandparents. Let me tell you about your grandparents. He could tell him all this cool
Maybe
stuff.
it did happen, it's just not in the book.
Yeah, maybe. Which it could be so insignificant it doesn't matter. Maybe Harry's grandparents are no big deal. But in my mind, it's worth at least a mention for all the things that are mentioned. And there's still hope in this thick book that we're going to get some juicy deets. We got
Can
him
I
about
see how
Dumbledore
thick
right
it
here.
is?
Oh, look at all this stuff.
Wow.
It's a big book. And we're only at the start, reading slowly to absorb every minute.
Then he's blocking out all the pictures.
Yeah, don't you look. Oh, another picture. Dumbledore.
Jen's studying it. What information can I gather from this picture?
Gives me 10 seconds. That's it.
So there's a few lines with that Alpheus Doge wrote about Dumbledore, and there's a few in particular that I want to talk about. One of them was, when Alpheus and I left Hogwarts, we intended to take the then traditional tour of the world together, visiting and observing foreign wizards, before pursuing our separate careers. However, tragedy intervened. On the very eve of our trip, Albus's mother, Kendra, died, leaving Albus as the head and sole breadwinner of the family. I postponed my departure long enough to pay my respects at Kendra's funeral, then left for what was now to be a solitary journey. With a younger brother and sister to care for, and little gold left to them, there could no longer be any question of Albus accompanying me. So did we know Albus had a sister before this?
No, I didn't.
I don't
Danny might have.
think so. No, I really don't think so.
You knew?
I said I didn't.
Oh, I thought you said I did. I'm like, oh, wow.
No, I do not think it came up before.
Why would
Aberforth,
it?
the
He
goat
never-
thing,
he never
15 years ago. But
15 years
I
ago.
don't
15 years ago, you think there's some connection with
Oh, there's a connection. 1982, the year. What happened that year? I don't know, but it was a weird year potentially. And why?
The dates.
Well, the goat thing, it wasn't mentioned in this. So I
Yeah,
feel like
it
there was a
was.
miscommunication.
There was something with
No,
goat.
something was
Yeah.
mentioned with it, but in the in this eulogy, I don't think it was
Alpheus Doges,
mentioned.
yeah, it was mentioned with Rita.
Rita mentioned it, but
Oh.
this painted it in a better light. But we also know where Dumbledore got his middle name, Percival, his father.
What about the next two?
Wulfric Brian.
Wilfric Brian.
We got to meet him. Who's Wulfric? Who's Brian?
One of my favorite moments ever on this podcast is when we were figuring out what AFPVD. Who could that be? And then we were trying to think of Sybil Trelawney. We're like, who is that? And it took us
You
a little
let
bit.
us
We
go
finally
on
got
and
it.
on, and then you like
Yeah, that
gave
was
us
funny.
the last bit.
That
we
was
were
so
right there.
entertaining. I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
Because this is another quote that he says. Though Ariana had been in poor health for a long time, the blow, coming so soon after the loss of their mother, had a profound effect on both her brothers. All those closest to Albus, and I count myself as one of that lucky number, agree that Ariana's death and Albus's feeling of personal responsibility for it, though of course he was guiltless, left their mark upon him forever. Is Wes, does he just keep farting?
I smell something.
This smells terrible. Unless my neighbors are smoking more weed or something like that. I don't know. Why would Dumbledore feel personally responsible for Ariana's death?
Something happened, obviously. Whether it's like something for being poor and she was too sick to get the help, but he's like a smart wizard, so maybe not. Or he was too late. He was out doing something work-wise to make money, and she got into an accident. Or he was defending someone, and they were taking the wrath out on her. He was doing something, and she got in the crossfires.
I wonder if her original poor health came from something connected to him. So it was a little vague about why she died, but it does say she had been in poor health for a long time. So his friends thought of him as guiltless, but maybe he didn't think of himself as guiltless. I think it's weird because the Dumbledore we see is so disciplined and in touch with his emotions and like controlled that I feel like he would be able to like maturely process a death. He's the one who's saying well-organized mind and death isn't so bad in some ways. Like for him to be able to say that after experiencing so much death in his own life feels weird then that his friends would say, even though he was guiltless, he felt responsible personally and it left their mark forevermore. Leaving a mark makes sense. It would change him no matter what. But why did he feel responsible? And why did everyone else think he was guiltless? It also feels like he never really opened up about it, never mentioned her again. Nobody else brought it up. So it was a touchy subject. But why? There's more to this for sure. Or maybe not. Because Kristen doesn't remember. Huh.
No, I was trying to. I don't know. I was trying to like piece things together in my mind. I don't know. I'm in a psychoanalytical mindset right now.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Poor Dumbledore. He's been through a lot.
There's also that, and Danny has been saying this for eons. There's this line of "for the greater good."
The greater
He uses in
good.
this, which I just thought was hilarious. He says this at the end, and she says, "He died as he lived, working always for the greater good, and to his last hour, is willing to stretch out a hand to a small boy with dragonpox, as he was on the next day that I met him." That's a funny little line for the greater good. Do you think that so do you think that Alpheus Doge is completely accurate in what he's saying and Rita Skeeter is completely inaccurate in what she's saying?
90% accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Rita?
No.
Yeah, that's
Alpheus.
okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Rita, I'm thinking about, if I had to split them evenly, I'd say 80-20. Alpheus is 80% accurate, Rita 20%. And some of it is just perspective. It's not like they're dealing in straight facts. It's more of interpretation of facts. But, yeah. Alpheus has credibility.
Yeah.
To me.
And they're contradicting each other with certain things. Alpheus says like the duel was a thing of legends.
Oh, yes.
Wondrous to see. And then Rita talks about it later just being like, oh, I wouldn't be so sure. Like, you know,
Yep.
Grindelwald probably just popped out his white popped a white flag out of his wand. And
But
just came
even
willingly.
the way Rita said that, it felt more like she was, again, just trying to get sales.
Yeah.
She didn't say the duel never happened. She said, after you've read chapter whatever it was, it will leave you potentially questioning if the duel happened the way we think it did. So even then, it's not like she was outright saying it didn't happen. It's almost like she fluffed up all this story and is really just working it to sell, and putting doubt in people's mind.
Yeah.
Because she didn't contradict too directly. She's just looking at it from another angle of a Dumbledore hater.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I don't know. It still felt weird.
Yeah. What was the other line that they kind of contradict each other on? There were a few. I think almost everything they're saying kind of contradicts one another. But Rita seems to say there's a lot more dirt in Dumbledore's past than Alpheus is saying. Alpheus is like, he was just a noble guy, did everything that he could. But one thing is for sure, Harry doesn't know a thing about Dumbledore. And he wishes that he asked him tons of questions, because we got this longer paragraph that Harry is kind of thinking. He had never thought to ask Dumbledore about his past. No doubt would have felt strange, impertinent even. But after all, it had been common knowledge that Dumbledore had taken part in that legendary duel with Grindelwald. And Harry had not thought to ask Dumbledore what that had been like, nor about any of his other famous achievements. No, they always had discussed Harry. Harry's past, Harry's future, Harry's plans. And it seemed to Harry now, despite the fact that his future was so dangerous and uncertain, he had missed irreplaceable opportunities when he had failed to ask Dumbledore more about himself. Even though the only personal question he had ever asked his headmaster was also the one he suspected that Dumbledore had not answered honestly. What do you see when you look in the mirror? I see myself holding a pair of thick woolen socks. So we were just talking about the mirror that Harry holds. Do those two things have any symmetry, the mirror of Erised and the mirror that Harry has? And then what really do you think Dumbledore saw in the mirror? We'll revisit that question that we asked in the very first book.
Well, if Dumbledore likes death, he's not afraid of it. Could he see all his family members?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know what Dumbledore believes
in
about an afterlife.
heaven or
Yeah, true. That's a fair point. You're right. If he's thinking it's me being reunited with my family, it's my time. Maybe he was just ready, you know?
And he doesn't want to say it to Harry because Harry just lost his, so that would make sense why he would say the wool socks.
Yeah.
But man, I'm still trying to find a way that the wool socks are accurate though.
Maybe his sister made those wool socks.
I was picturing, something like that. Like he desired the last Christmas his family was all together, and those wool socks are stockings hanging on the mantle, and the whole family's gathered together. And it was like maybe it's more of just representative of simpler times rather than socks themselves. Like maybe Dumbledore literally is seeing a view of his Christmas morning in socks. But
that would be so cute.
I still feel like he didn't tell the whole story to Harry,
right? It's like
but I don't think he lied either.
Because that would make sense with them being very poor, as you guys were kind of thinking. If he's maybe it's not, maybe it's not him as an adult wearing with a pair of thick woolen socks. Maybe like this was a gift knitted for him by his sister, and when he was like 8 years old, he got this gift, and it was like the greatest thing ever, and that's the memory he wants to go back to. Maybe it was something like that.
And it just wore out over time or something, or got lost or stolen, or maybe there was some major event.
He lost it. That's true.
It could be something simple, but again, it's not like the desire is more than just comfortable socks, I think. And the fact that it's being brought up again at the beginning of this book to remind the reader of what happened in a previous book makes me think it's going to come around at least once more by the end of this book. Yeah.
That's because you're doing a book study.
We are doing a book
You're
study.
going very slow through this, but we really are doing a book study of this.
You know what I don't like? Alpheus Doge. He told the person who wrote the Skeeter article that Skeeter's book contains less fact than a chocolate frog card. And I thought, but aren't those full of facts?
Yeah, all right.
I was like, what do you mean? Are you calling into question the facts on chocolate frogs? How dare you?
They
course you
nailed
would
pretty much
notice
most
that.
of the
Yeah, I was
chocolate
gonna
frog
say
card on
because
Dumbledore.
that helped us find Nicholas Flamel in the
Yeah.
beginning, and we found all of the stuff about Dumbledore has been accurate. So, unless Elphius accidentally showed his hand right there, and the facts about Dumbledore and the duel in 1945 were not accurate.
Yeah.
So,
Who
anyways,
says Grindel? Whatever, Grinder.
and it,
Who is Grindelwald?
Yeah.
You don't really know.
Okay.
but
I'm just
this
glad
feels
to see
Yeah.
more like a
Sounded
duel.
like a big name, and I'm like, I don't remember him.
He comes up here and there. Danny thinks
I'm
it's
just
Hitler.
thinking of
He's just known
Grindelwald.
as the guy that
That
had the
Dumbledore
famous
killed.
duel with Dumbledore.
I'm just thinking.
Sounds
of
pretty epic.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
And the way the duel was described here by Elphius sounds awesome. If it's to be believed. Maybe it sounds like there could have even been people watching. But maybe I'm just imagining more of a classic duel, but it was just the two of them in some place. But I do think it's very weird that the source is someone never spoken in public before and who was close to Dumbledore during the most turbulent and disturbing phase of his youth.
Yeah.
Turbulent and disturbing
Well,
in his youth.
he was into the dark arts a little. It said, right? In one of them?
Yeah,
Was that
it does
Rita,
say
or
that.
was
He
that
dabbled
him?
in
Yeah.
the dark arts himself in his youth, according to.
What's the age difference? I can't remember. No, but Voldemort's mom did not go to school
No.
at Hogwarts.
Correct.
No, yeah, she was a muggle.
The mom was
No,
not
no,
a
she
Muggle?
was the wizard.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Dad
was the muggle.
Whoa.
But still didn't go to school.
Calling you out
Wow.
now.
well played. Well played.
But we don't know how old
Ay,
Dumbledore
ay, ay.
is because this didn't give us any information.
Yeah.
But we do know that there is at least one other person as old as him who is still alive. So,
R.A.B.
no, I was thinking Elphius Doge.
Oh.
We don't know anything about RAB, but I don't think he's as old as Dumbledore. If he's Sirius's brother, the timing would be tricky.
I can't keep track of ages. They're all the same.
Yeah, it is that
Like
the
anyone
generational thing is
over-
weird.
Like Harry's age. I'm like, they're all the same.
yeah. What kind of dark magic?
Yeah. What kind of dark magic is
I don't
would
think it was as
be
like
possible for that?
intense as.
Wait. When did his dad pass away?
Why are you asking me?
Well, that was in the beginning of the thing. I just want to read
I
again
also
how
don't have a
Percival,
book,
because that was
so-
when he was younger. So, oh no, he went to Azkaban.
Yeah, he went to Azkaban,
Oh,
so we
right.
don't really know. Yeah.
I forgot about that, and that's also weird too. Did he really attack Muggles? Dumbledore doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So there's more to that story. I don't think he attacked Muggles. If Dumbledore grew up not like sticking up for Muggles and supporting them, it could be contrasting his father. But
Yeah.
I'd like to think his dad was good, and it was all a misunderstanding somehow. But what I was thinking is the dark magic could be something trying to heal his sister, like some kind of weird.
Interesting.
I'm thinking the Star Wars thing again. The dark side is a path to things.
yeah, for sure.
The good guys couldn't even
yeah,
dream
that's
of.
true.
So maybe Dumbledore was kind of doing some funky stuff, trying to, I don't know,
Save them.
free his dad or save his sister from whatever the sickness is, or
So he was doing this dark magic out of nobility, like a necessity to save people that he loved.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't have much to go on, and maybe he didn't even dabble. But that's the part of this where I feel like there has to be some truth. Something he did, whether it actually was dark or not, left other people thinking he was dabbling in dark magic. So in my mind, maybe he actually did. To what degree? And was it the ends justify the means? And so he went down a dark path for a little? I don't know.
Because it's interesting, because your main focus is on the father and on Dumbledore. Rita Skeeter, on the other hand, says it's the mother and sister that intrigue me. And a little digging uncovered a positive nest of nastiness. But as I can say, you'll have to wait for chapters 9 to 12 for full details. All I can say now is it's no wonder Dumbledore never talked about how his nose got broken. What is the
His sister
nest?
couldn't have dated Voldemort.
Ooh,
Whoa, what
wow.
That'd be pretty intense.
Don't
Whoa.
ages.
Whoa,
Getting into some rough romantic history here.
That would be interesting. Timing wise, it would be hard to work out because,
She's like 20 years older than him.
well, let's assume even if they were just twins, same age, it would mean. No, it would be impossible because Dumbledore went to Voldemort when Dumbledore was headmaster and Voldemort was a teenager or 11. And Ariana died a year after Dumbledore graduated from Hogwarts.
Okay.
So it
That's
would be impossible, according to this timeline, for that to happen. Yeah.
Glad you're keeping track.
Danny's got the whole timeline set out.
I'm fascinated.
Characters.
Timelines don't exist in my head.
They're all the same. I swear.
all just a
they're all the
blurb.
same. age.
Well, it's the one of the few ways we might be able to solve some of the mysteries ahead of time.
Yeah.
And because I have extra time, I might as well read slow, you know?
Oh. In life? Like, I don't.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And why was their world tour, it says the then traditional tour of the world. I'm wondering what changed to make a tour of the world not popular anymore. Like, was it all part of a world war? Again, this is the Hitler thing. After Grindelwald, maybe there were no more world tours because the wizard world really divided themselves up to have different governing bodies because of what Grindelwald did to the first governing body. The world...
Wait, that's the
Wizarding.
same guy that he dueled.
Yeah, exactly. So Dumbledore and Grindelwald had a big battle, and I feel like there's more there. So maybe that changed the landscape of the world.
Okay.
They had that, on
And
the
that's why we
Eagles'
don't do
Nest.
world
Big name.
tours. Actually, people must kind of still do world tours if Charlie ends up in Romania and Bill ends up in Egypt. There's still a pretty good movement. And who was it who had the pen pal in Brazil?
Yeah.
That might have been Bill too or something.
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
so. Might have, yeah,
What
something
was
like that. I
her-
forgot.
What was Hermione, the boy, the guy?
Victor
Ah,
Crumb,
Victor
That
Crumb.
was her
Yeah.
pen pal.
Bulgarian bonbon.
Indeed.
What? That just
I
made
think that's
me
how
hungry.
Rita describes him, the Bulgarian bonbon, right?
Oh.
I
Rita's-
don't
Rita's-
remember.
One thing's for sure, Rita is selling copies because she knows how to write. She knows how to market things so well. If I'm reading this article, like even the writing in this article, the writing in this one is so much better than Alpheus Doge's. Doge's is like, it's a good memorial.
Yep.
But
Amateur.
yeah, and then hers is like even the person that's writing for her. It's a funny line. In person, Rita Skeeter is much warmer and softer than her famously ferocious quill portraits might suggest. Greeting me in the hallway of her cozy home, she leads me straight into the kitchen for a cup of tea, a slice of pound cake, and it goes without saying, a steaming vat of freshest gossip. I'm like keyed in on this. I'm
Yeah,
like, this is
honestly,
such good
respect.
writing right
That-
here.
that-
I'm like
that hooks
into
ya.
this. Whatever she's writing, I'm gonna read, even though it might not be true at all. She does talk about the relationship of Harry and Dumbledore, though, and she says it has been called unhealthy, even sinister. What do you think that she's talking about there? And do you think that how would you describe Harry and Dumbledore's relationship?
I don't think it's sinister though.
Yeah.
It's not
From
like
the out-
he's taking advantage or doing anything harmful to him.
Yeah.
But I could see why someone could say that from the outside.
Yeah, for sure.
But how?
Well, just because Dumbledore has no actual right or authority over Harry, but he's stepped into that role and has definitely influenced Harry in a lot of ways. And we know that it's for the good, or at least we
Yeah, but it's not
think
like he's
that.
forcing him to do this stuff.
You don't think so? I feel like there's a pretty good amount of influence there of like,
He has zero guidance.
no, not
so.
forcing. But yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't have any guidance.
It's like if he said no, he can leave, but he chooses to go forth with it. It's not like
Yeah, it's true.
it's.
But I
maybe
just could see
strong.
why it would be a weird view from the outside a little bit. For someone, if
Yeah.
someone didn't trust Dumbledore, I could see why they would not like that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like uncomfortable with it a little bit.
they're gonna be, if they don't like him, they're gonna be looking for negative things,
Yep.
and you can twist anything the way you want it to.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's the one thing. I feel like everyone's a psychologist right now, and everyone like has different takes on friendships and everything like that.
Mhm.
So no matter what way you look at it, everyone's going to be a critique, especially if Dumbledore, this is the guy like everyone knows Dumbledore. So
Mhm.
everyone's going to have a critique or bad take of him. It's like the sports world. Like everyone has good and bad takes of people, and everyone's like, the peanut gallery. So I feel like what she's saying isn't necessarily that trustworthy, but it's just interesting that she would characterize it as unhealthy, even sinister. Like, what does she see in this relationship that's sinister? Because the only time that they were really together was in the fourth book that Rita was able to see how Dumbledore acted toward Harry.
I'm thinking it all is connected to her source and to the dark magic from Dumbledore's youth. So let's say the dark magic from Dumbledore's youth was something about life or death stuff. There could be something about Harry and about, like, I don't know, about swapping lives or pulling from one person to give to another. Like, there could be something weird in dark magic that we don't fully understand that this source might, and they would say, Harry's a prime candidate for this kind of weird thing that you can do with dark magic that we don't even get, but it could be something we would never have thought of that could make it sinister.
Yeah.
Something deeper or darker or whatever.
Have we met this source before?
Potentially.
Do you guys have any guesses on who the source would be?
A source most journalists would swap their wands for. So most journalists would know who this source is and was close to Dumbledore during the most turbulent and disturbing phase of his youth. So now we have to think of someone who's as old as Dumbledore, roughly.
Which I already can't tell you.
Someone who goes way back like that feels weird. Like, could Slughorn be that old? Potentially. He's one of the people who's that old.
And he seems like he would give up some information like that for personal glory.
And then you have to wonder, how far would Rita go? And would she, because if she went the other way, would she seek Voldemort as a source? Because Voldemort wasn't around for his real youth, but Voldemort was around for Dumbledore's youth as a headmaster. He was much younger. I was thinking Snape is a little young, but youth is relative.
Do you think?
What about his mom?
I know. Great point, Jen. Like, is his mom still alive?
I thought so.
Wait, whose mom?
Snape's mom.
Oh, okay.
Eileen Prince.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because she could have known.
She'd be a very juicy source for sure.
And they probably went to school together, right? They obviously did.
Wait,
And
Dumbledore
she's-
and Eileen? You say obviously did?
Well, I know that she went to Hogwarts, though, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
she's
she
in
did.
the
Yep.
journal,
She definitely went to Hogwarts for at least
She's
some amount of
probably a
time.
little bit younger than Dumbledore still. But she probably could have been raised with a Dumbledore family. She might have been a little girl when, the Dumbledores were, everything was happening. So she was not that young, much younger, but probably a little bit. Or like Snape as a grandpa somewhere or something.
Because it's possible it is the parent of somebody we know.
Yeah.
Because even if it isn't Eileen, it's somebody that maybe we'd hear and be like, oh my goodness. Because there could just be other.
Do they have any grandparents?
Ooh.
I mean, they totally could, We haven't heard them mentioned at all. I
They're
don't
part
think.
of the Sacred 28 too, so they would probably know.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And for them not to even come up, I think it would be most satisfying if it was someone we at least had heard of or like knew a little bit. But that could be accomplished through somebody else. It'd be best if it was someone we actually know a little bit.
Yeah, we'll keep coming back to this one because that's an interesting one of who the source is. But do you have anything else in this chapter before we hit the final chapter 3? I don't have a ton of.
I'm wondering
questions for
how
chapter
old
3,
house elves live to be. Because Dobby could be a source.
Yeah.
He would only betray them accidentally, but he would be a good source. No, but he's from the
But he
he's from the
wasn't
Malfoys. He
around.
wouldn't
Yeah,
know
that's what I was
Dumbledore
like,
like
I
that
don't know.
unless his dark past brought him to a dark family to
Yeah.
ask some stuff.
He could have been swapped
Um,
around, you know.
Yep.
Dumbledore's family could have really been dark, and Dumbledore was like, you know, the contrast against that.
Right.
So they could have had a dark house elf with them, and that's like a source.
And I'm wondering, it sounds like they're pretty poor, but at least here they certainly were poor by
Yeah.
the end. But that could have been from a downfall after the
And
father
even
went
what
to
Jen was
jail.
saying, it could be generational. So house elves
Yeah.
are for sure with wealth, but there's also some kind of generational thing there. Except it just depends, because the Gaunts don't have a house elf, and they're just poor. They came from super rich nobility, but they have nothing.
Yeah, I feel like, didn't they say oftentimes the elves, they are with the house? So
Yeah.
like if you sold your house, you might sell it with the
Yeah.
elf included
'Cause they're
to
just seen as
further
property.
enforce Hermione's spew
Sad.
thoughts.
I know.
Set him free. Oh, also, what if the whole thing with the goat was just Aberforth trying to get his hands on a Bazor because somebody
Great theory. Interesting.
was poisoned?
Wow, I'm very, very impressed that you knew this from the from the
A rock
stomach of a
that's been in
goat.
the stomach of a goat. Yeah.
Well done, well done.
So we'll see.
But then doesn't Snape like goats too?
Yeah, and Snape, when he was the Half-Blood Prince, was at
Snape
least
has a fondness for
in
goats.
school. He was referencing it. So we know that Aberforth didn't invent a Bezoar, but he could have been seeking one. And they were poor. Maybe they didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
And maybe the whole reason they had this goat was so they could eventually get the Bezoar. And he was mad. He's like, my mother's dying. I need to get this Bezoar out. And the goat was not cooperating.
Oh my gosh.
But the timing wouldn't make sense because his mother and sister would have already passed away. But there could have been somebody else.
Good theories. Good theories. Let's do chapter 3, the Dursleys departing. What happens in this chapter?
Oh, yeah. Let me
Did
go. I
you-
wrote this one out, too.
Okay, good.
That was
Just
short.
covering for me.
This is just saying goodbye to the Dursleys. They are going with Daedalus and Hetia, and Harry will wait for Moody so they can all leave at the same time. So this is just kind of another little prep chapter, trying to figure out what they're going to do. Weird that Harry was left alone. Not cool.
I also thought it was weird they changed plans on him and didn't tell him, and then I thought polyjuice potion or something.
And then all of a sudden it's a change of plans.
I know. I'm like, I don't
Nice
trust
thinking.
this.
Nice thinking.
Huh, interesting. What? So you think who do you think is polyjuiced? The two people that picked him up?
Did he meet any of them before? We didn't know. It was a
I
little
know.
hard
That's
to
what I
tell.
was saying. He the conversation as if he's met them, but I've never heard their names before,
Yeah.
unless it's been that long. And then I'm like, oh no, is this the same thing as Crouch Jr.? They're gonna come in, take them.
Yep. Saying like, oh, we got to change up plans. Yeah, you're right. Harry should have been
It
much
was-
more on his
yeah, I
toes.
thought that was
They don't even have
weird.
passwords or anything. Like, again, with
And
the
then
whole
they're like,
Polyjuice
Mad
thing.
Eye Moody's not. Sorry, he's not available. But why? Like,
Yeah.
can I see him? I want to talk to. Or
Yeah.
like, can I at least
Get
talk
some
to
kind of
him?
credibility here.
That's a great point. Harry wasn't even skeptical at all. Neither was
That's
I.
so weird. You weren't either.
No, not of that.
Nice,
Wow.
man.
No.
I'm shocked.
I think I just viewed the house as the protections being like so secure that it wouldn't be possible. And so I was like, oh, yeah, if they come in, they're good to go. But I trusted them too quick.
Mistake.
Mistake.
There's a lot of fishiness there.
A lot of fishiness.
We don't really know of Hestia Jones all that much, but we have met Daedalus Diggle before. He was one of the people that had met Harry in the streets before Harry knew he was a wizard and greeted him.
Nice.
And then he was also, I believe, one of the people that were shooting off fireworks. And in the very first chapter, McGonagall got mad and said probably the work of Daedalus Diggle or something like that.
Well, that
I
is so
think it was
funny.
Daedalus Diggle. So he's not really in them that much, but maybe Harry can ask him, like, when was the first time we met? As like,
wow,
as
they
like
even
a key
have
for him.
questions.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, you're right.
Because, I mean, they're not going to have, like, mollywobbles kind of questions, but maybe
Right.
something
Mm-hmm.
for them to know for sure. Because, okay, so maybe a different side question is, what place would the Dursleys hold for Harry? Would they have information? Do you think that Harry would go back if they were torturing the Dursleys?
Well, there was that moment of funniness between Harry and Uncle Vern
Yeah.
where they like Harry said that. He's like, you could be captured and they expect me to come rescue you. And they both like pause and look at each other, wondering, but not saying it. Would Harry rescue them?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. But Harry is pretty righteous in that regard. I think he would have a hard time resisting, but he would be with people who wouldn't let him do it. They'd say, you're more important than the Dursleys. Hundreds or thousands of people have already died and they might be next, and it has to be a sacrifice we make.
Yeah.
And that would, Dumbledore probably wouldn't even say something like that, but Moody would. Like there are people in his life who would say something like that, I bet. So I don't think that he would rescue them. But after his final exchange with Dudley, maybe. It was kind of cute.
Yeah, it was really cute.
I was like, wow.
I could read that.
I can't believe it.
Dudley saying I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's Dudley saying I love you. Yep.
I don't
it's kind of
you're
true.
A waste of space. It was such a good little section.
That's what I'll say.
And Heshio was like, are you serious? Like, this is special? What are you doing? But it was special.
So what would the plan be if these are two secret agents, two of Voldemort's people, taking the Dursleys? Why wouldn't they take Harry at that moment?
That's a great question.
I still think he would be under the protection of the house,
Well, yeah.
but maybe they wouldn't.
Okay.
So they could take the Dursleys for
Hostage blood.
hoping to get for blood. It is Harry's blood,
It is
so at least
partly
Petunia.
Harry's blood.
Yeah, at least Petunia has some stuff
and
in there.
Dudley.
And Dudley.
Yeah.
That is
So,
how science works. Yeah.
Unless I don't know, is there anything else? What else could, unless Voldemort really thinks Harry would likes them and stuff. No,
Yeah,
Snape wouldn't.
maybe.
No, Snape wouldn't know. Would he?
No one would know, right?
Nobody would really know that
Well,
Harry doesn't
maybe,
get along
'cause
with them.
He was
Yeah.
in the Order of the Phoenix, which is so annoying.
Yep.
Snape.
So
he
maybe
probably does.
it was all talked about, like, oh yeah, Harry hates them, but he's gonna stay with them till he's whatever. Or maybe Petunia's actually a wizard, and there's more there, but she rejected her wizardly ways. And they're
What would
gonna bring
happen
her
if,
away somewhere.
again, this is a weird question, but what would happen if someone rejected their wizardly ways? Would they just go and live in Muggle society, or is there something in it where, like, if you're rejecting the powers that you have, then you become like, you go into like non-being because you're rejecting the magic in you, but
Do you
it's
think
trying to get out.
The
Trying to
powers
get out.
go
Because-
somewhere else.
Maybe because have we
backed up.
seen anything else that pops out of a Petunia? Because is it the same like when you're a kid that magic just erupts out of you in some random cases? Have you ever seen that with Petunia, that magic just like
I don't
pops out of her?
think we've seen it. Have we seen anything? It doesn't feel like it.
I don't know. It's still secretive. I still can't figure
Like,
it
I'm
out.
trying to think if any of those moments, even with Harry, could have accidentally been Petunia or things going wrong or whatever. I don't think so. I feel like she either got so good at controlling it that,
Or she's not.
well, or when you choose to reject it, it actually is like the red pill, blue pill moment. If you take the blue pill and you're like, let me just live in Muggle bliss, then they might wipe your mind and you don't remember anything. And then you go along never knowing you ever had a choice.
Yeah.
But what the letter, the howler she got.
Well, yeah, but then
Remember
she
my
can just
last-
like any muggle, could just understand those things if a wizard tells her, but she wouldn't remember that she once had the opportunity to be one, maybe. Or maybe that was even a choice too. Or maybe it has nothing to do with anything, but what else?
Lily. Yeah. Wow.
Would-
Or maybe there's a family thing that would help them track down Harry with blood or with like a relative. I'm thinking of things like the clock that the Weasleys have. Like Mrs. Weasley was able to use that clock to reference the safety of the rest of the family. So, could there be any truth to that? Any other way they could use the Dursleys for that kind of family GPS?
Do you have any sympathy for the Dursleys at all?
Yes.
I don't know. Only because they treat him so poorly, and like now they're going to be in a safe place. So like, what's bad about that?
Yeah, for sure.
We hope safe. Or we hope not.
Well, I don't know. I'm just these are just thoughts.
I think I I got lots of heart space for someone who's bad and goes good. So when Dudley's showing a little hope for like coming to the light side, I'm like, okay, yeah, welcome to the fold, Dudley. Give me a hug, you know? That feels like I'm down. And that's why I really wanted Malfoy to turn good, because it's like seeing that growth, you know? But Vern, Petunia, that last moment, I thought there was hope. When she paused, she wanted to say something, but she didn't. What was she going to say?
Good luck.
Such a great question.
I thought it was going to be something more important.
I love you.
Like, Harry, you do have to know this one thing I've never told you about your mom, about me, about Dudley, about this thing that happened when you were little, or whatever else, or someone else sent me a howler, or Dumbledore sent me another note I never told you about. There's got to be something else. But what was it? Maybe it was as simple as, not I love you, but something like, you weren't so bad as a nephew, you know?
Yeah.
Just any kind of little the equivalent of I love you
But
for
there
Petunia.
would be some magical power in her saying I love you. I feel like there would be some magical power in saying that.
Whoa.
Because it's love that's protecting Harry. So if she would say something like that, but that's such a fascinating question. What would
if all three of them
Petunia
said I
say?
love you,
oh man, it's
it'd
like the
be
trifecta.
all over again.
Or could it be the opposite? A little Cinderella moment of there's power in being rejected by the people that are your family, because you become the runt of the litter, almost,
Cinderella.
well, because she was hated by all her family, but
No,
she went
I'm
on to be a
saying
princess. I mean,
he
a queen,
becomes
right?
Cinderella.
Well, just that idea of like all the people around him. Like, I'm wondering, could there be anything to Petunia wasn't allowed to say I love you, or not allowed to,
Interesting.
because that would make them his parents, and they weren't allowed to take on a parental role because he had more protection as an orphan than as someone with adopted parents.
So that just explains all their nastiness. They were required to be
And that
nasty
gives
to
them a
Harry.
lot of credit. But I was just saying, what if Petunia did all of that and particularly leaned into hating Harry because he was more protected under her hatred than love? Because then he would have the love protection from his parents. But if they ever loved him, they would become his parents, and he would no longer have the love protection.
Interesting. So she is hating Harry for the purpose that Harry hates them and loves
Yep.
his parents more.
And maybe her final thing would be something like, I have always cared for you. I have always wanted to make you our son, but I couldn't because of the secret love pact thing. And Dumbledore told me in that first Howler, the Remember My Last had a little bit more words in there. And it was something about, I have to keep you here and never love you as the only way to keep you safe. Anyways, just spitballing, because it would be kind of cool to see a little redemption for the Dursleys.
You're saying a certain
I don't know if
word
it's
a lot.
possible though.
Do you think that they're going to come back in the series at all? Because you even have this line. Like, this was a
Saying
really
word that
enjoyable
I keep
line.
seeing.
The prospect of parting, probably forever, from his aunt, uncle, and cousin, was one that he was able to contemplate quite cheerfully. But there was nevertheless a certain awkwardness in the air. What did you say to one another at the end of 16 years? Solid dislike. Like, do you think that they're going to come back into the story? And is this just Harry's perspective of solid dislike? Do the Dursleys truly love Harry, but they just cannot show it? I feel like we almost know that Vernon doesn't love Harry.
Yeah.
He's probably just out of the picture there. But has Petunia been hiding this her entire life? Not even telling Vernon because she needs to play the part so well. And then has that even like ebbed itself out into Dudley, who then has this little redemptive moment? Because again,
Maybe.
the question of what she was going to say at the very end is just a fascinating question.
When I read this, actually viewed it as we're not going to see them again. This was the real goodbye. And that's genuinely how I read it. But this is just all speculation of fun other ways of interpreting it. And I do think there's, even as you say, like, what if it was Polyjuice or some other fake thing, a weird change of plans? I'm thinking, oh man, even the start of the next chapter, we might get a hint that like, oh, that wasn't the plan. Or wait, you didn't know? They already got captured and that wasn't them. And now we got to go rescue the Dursleys later. Like, that could happen. Small chance, 10, 15, 20% chance. But I do feel like there's another little chance that we see something for Petunia, even if it's just a note or something that automatically gets sent to Harry after he turns 17 for some reason. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'm kind of feeling like this might be the end for the Dursleys. Maybe at the very end of the book, they show up at Harry's funeral if he sacrifices himself, or maybe they need to go get some Dudley blood to bring Harry back if he gets that moment.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. There's blood in Petunia and in Dudley. Maybe they're the last two people that can resurrect Harry if Harry ever dies. That would be a wild turn to the story. But I do love this whole thing. I literally have a Pole Block quote that's like almost a page and a half. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's just the whole conversation between the two of them, between Dudley not understanding and between him saying that Harry's not a waste of space, all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of, there's some like loveliness there, a little redemption. So for that, do you think that there's going to be any other characters that have a redemptive arc? Are there any good characters that will go bad? Are there any bad characters that will go good?
Yeah, we're definitely going to get some more bad. Limited chance on good. I'm thinking the going bad, we already know there are sources in the Ministry. It sounds like there's a juicy source Rita has. And there could be other, like Snape's source, Rita's source, and infiltrators in the Ministry. We just don't know who they are, when they're going to show up, but I think those are going to be people, at least some of them, that surprise us. So I'm ready for a little betrayal from somebody important. I hope it's not someone like Kingsley. I hope it's not someone close, but like another little betrayal. Fudge would be an easy one, of course.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
like it's like, yeah, Fudge is evil. Great. We knew that. Umbridge, sure. It makes a lot of sense. But if it was somebody else, a little, I don't know, something. So I'm cautious about.
That's also weird to me that you would also classify Umbridge as going bad.
Yeah, like she's like, really good right now. But if she decided to go bad,
because most people would probably classify her as worse than Voldemort.
No, child torture. That's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
People still make comments into
Danny's
that one
quote.
YouTube video that we have of you, and they're like, "I cannot believe Danny is justifying her actions."
Yeah, I can't. You know, I just can't even shake it. I think in comparison to what we just saw with Charity at the beginning of this, where I'm like, Voldemort is spinning people around, torturing them, killing them like it's nothing. And in comparison, I'm like, if Umbridge is a little rough around the edges or whatever, I'm just like, whatever. It just doesn't seem like a big deal. I don't know why it's not a big deal to me. I think we've just seen the chaos of, I keep thinking back to the Longbottoms and the Barty Crouch Jr., like he's like the Joker, like this crazy, like you cannot even understand the chaos in his mind. And in comparison to someone like him who's so evil and like unpredictable, I'm like, oh, Umbridge is just like a grumpy old lady who does like, seems like she's from like 50 years ago, back when you'd smack kids with rulers and stuff, you know? So yeah, I still think Umbridge could go evil. Or Fudge, even though both of them are like evil in some ways, but I don't think either one of them yet follow Voldemort. So that's why I'm thinking, you know, and same thing now with Rita. If she's not under an Imperious curse, she could go evil. People that could go good, the Malfoys. I don't know if all could go good, but at least one of them could, and I can't figure out how or why. But Draco is not down with the way things are happening now. He's freaked out, and that could drive him one of two ways. There's a chance it will bring him back a little bit to good. And in the same way, never mind, I can't do it. I was going to say Wormtail. No, he's too far. He's too far gone. Even if he's good, that's only a slight way he can redeem himself before being really just doomed as bad and evil. Because he's killed people. And to me, you can't come back from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 12 people, wasn't it? Or 13 people? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you know what? Nah, there's no coming back from that. Malfoy, there's almost no coming back for him. but a little bit. Maybe.
Or his mom, his dad. Do you think?
But do
either
we
of
know
them?
what his mom has done? Has she done anything unforgivable to us? His dad, I feel like, is too far.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I don't know. None of them could look at Voldemort in the face.
Yeah.
and that's why I feel like they're like, why are we loyal to this dude?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
if we could
They're
do it different,
finally
we
thinking
would.
of Jen's
Point.
rationale.
yeah.
What are we doing? This guy's not giving
Why?
us anything.
And maybe we'll find out in this book a little bit more about why people are following him, and then we'll understand. But I can't really see. Oh, the question, Jen, was, could anyone else here go bad that we're not expecting, or could anyone go good? Is there like with Dudley? Is there any redemption chance for people?
I thought the Malfoys, like you were saying, could
Yeah.
maybe go good.
All three of them?
Yes.
They do seem like they're the closest at this point. With everyone that's in this little room with the Malfoy Manor, they're the only people that really have that thought of like Jen's question, like, why are we following this guy? This is ridiculous. He's taking, like, even for Lucius, he's taking away my wand. He's living in my house. He's like a, what do you call those? A squatter. He's like,
Yeah.
what the heck is, what's going on right now? What am I gaining out of this? He's not gaining anything. He got out of prison. I mean, like, he freed him from prison, so that was kind of nice. But he wouldn't have been in prison in the first place had he not been following this dude. So
I would still love if Snape was good and Dumbledore had this whole plan for Snape to turn on Voldemort. No, I know it's very far-fetched. I know.
we might be a little too far from that
Well,
one.
like I said, for me, murder is like you don't come back from that.
Yeah, but what
I
if
wasn't even thinking about
Dumbledore-
Snape, but isn't that too far?
But what if he actually is not dead?
Oh, like,
I think I'm in denial.
okay, you know what? If Dumbledore is not dead, that would, in my mind, only be possible if Snape did some kind of cross your fingers while you do the killing curse
Have you
thing.
seen Sherlock?
Yes.
Remember the scene in Sherlock where everyone thought Sherlock was dead because he fell from that huge long story building and then like did the whole thing. That was a great
That was
intro to a season.
nuts.
It was so entertaining.
Yep.
And it was like how he stayed alive, how like he faked his death. I don't know if there's any faking for this one because it seems like it's very plain. Like Harry, who was in Harry's eyesight pretty much the whole time. I don't know what can be faked out of this, but
And then like they went to the body and everything. So that's why I'm like,
and the pleading of Dumbledore. Dumbledore was like, Severus, please. He was
Yeah,
like begging
but
him to save him.
and that's why I'm having a hard time thinking of a scenario. But trust me, I'd
Yeah.
love for it to be a scenario. If it's in this mirror or if it's something else. But then I can't picture how. And that's why Snape has done the unforgivable and therefore is unforgivable. And that's going to be my gauge. Child torture is cool, but I'm like,
Unbelievable.
no, Umbridge and well, even if Snape was good, he's still torturing Harry and all of the people. So it's like, that's no big deal. But once you kill somebody, then it's like, you can't come back from that. I'm not going to be able to just be like, yeah, you're cool now. You
The
know?
only thing is, there's all this Imperious Curse stuff, so good people could actually be doing bad things.
Right.
For sure.
So there's that.
Oh, wait.
is
You're
that.
saying Snape could say,
No. I'm not.
Oh.
I'm off that topic. I'm just saying, like, he's
Like
like,
in
who
general.
could be good that goes bad, good.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, there's a curveball because there could be good people that don't want to be bad, but they are turning.
good
Like-
people that don't want to be bad.
Like Harry's undying fighting for the bus. What's his face?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't, was
That
that Ernie
guy.
or was
Yeah.
it the other guy?
Ernie. And
that was on the bus that was wrongly accused.
Why can't I think of his name? I always blank for his life. It'll come to me in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Would McGonagall
In
go
a dream.
bad? Nah, she's too good.
I don't think she'd go bad, but I'm curious why she was never in the order.
Mm.
So she is not above anything at this point to me.
I am gonna I'm just gonna say this. I'm not gonna say if this is right or wrong, but one of the biggest theories in between book 6 and book 7 was that McGonagall was a rogue agent, because everyone pointed the fact that she wasn't in the original order, and they were like, "What was she actually doing?" Even she came up with a story for things. So like, just to give you a perspective of when everyone was reading this for the first time, in between book 6 and book 7, this is one of the biggest theories that everyone came across, that McGonagall was really evil. People were on the fence about that. People were like, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. It was like a huge talked about thing for the few months, years that the book wasn't released yet.
Yep.
So, I mean, you guys are bringing up those points that people are bringing up when they first read it as well. Like, is she good? She's possibly like, she seems so good up until this point. But are there things in her past that are strange? And
we don't know anything about her.
Yeah, for sure.
As
Like,
with
could
most
she
of
be
the other people.
Source?
Like Snape's source.
Like Rita's source.
No, Rita's source, yeah.
Oh,
Snape's
Rita's.
source, yeah. Or Snape's source. Which is
Wow,
more
does
terrifying.
McGonagall go back to Dumbledore's youth? I didn't even think about that. Totally could.
Old.
Yeah, no, that honestly, she is one of the older people who actually could. That's a great point.
Don't.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
That would be
as far as
crazy to
her
watch
potential
her walk
evilness.
in and be like, "Yeah, hey Snape, how you doing?
Yeah.
We were in on this together."
And then, well, actually, it said that Charity resigned.
Yeah.
So then maybe after she resigned, they were able to get her. But then,
Who's Charity?
oh, the teacher
Charity
of
Burbage.
Muggle Studies who...
Oh yeah.
And also, it was Stan Shunpike. Thank you, Emma.
Stan. Nice, Emma. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I do trust McGonagall, but not fully. I don't trust McGonagall fully. I certainly don't trust Moody or Horace.
I don't know how the kids are trustworthy, but the adults are.
Yeah,
like-
for sure.
I mean, I guess that's not weird.
In a weird way, too, I almost trust Moody the most. Because, like, he's already
of
been
his
duped once.
eye?
You can't dupe me again, but maybe. And his eye, I feel like he's, watching out for everyone. Any other questions in this chapter before we hit the final ones?
I don't think so.
Yeah, these were a little slower chapters, but this book has like rungs. There's like,
Oh my gosh.
was it a picture of the next chapter?
Next chapter.
Oh, you can't look at that one.
Jen was trying to peek at it.
Why?
Jenny Wobbles, what are you doing?
I need intel.
All right, so let's go over the final ones. Who is your favorite character? Who wins the house cup? That's what we call it. It's been a while. I don't even remember. Who's a hot tamale? And what is your favorite moment? Let's go over our favorite characters for this chapter.
There's not much.
I know, yeah.
It's like
There's-
Harry or Harry. Or
Yeah, I mean, or Dumbledore. You learn a little bit about Dumbledore, Elphius Doge, if you like
That's pretty
Elphius
awesome.
Doge.
I do like
Dudley.
Alpheus.
Dudley would be my favorite moment,
Okay, yeah. I like that.
but I'm boring and it's Harry.
I'm going to give Alpheus the house cup.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Harry did much. He
I
just
know.
exists.
That's
But
what
like,
I'm
but
saying.
after seeing what Rita said, I'm starting to wonder if the Daily Prophet as a whole, or if the Ministry really is not that pro Dumbledore right now. So Alpheus, no matter what, put a target on his back by saying those things, which I think was bold. It was brave. That's House Cup winner stuff, And I'm going to say Dudley was the hot tamale. I never thought I'd see the day.
Just saying.
Oh, I
Huh?
thought we were doing it all at once.
No. he
Yeah,
said
yeah.
Only one.
Only one at a time.
Oh, one at
Jenny.
a
Come on.
time. I'm not
Thank you,
listening. I'm
Jen.
too busy. Yeah,
Jen's
yeah.
nailing
Think
my.
about stuff.
Anytime I look at chat, Jen's on top of podcast
Respect.
hosting.
Correcting.
So,
John.
Kristen, what about you?
We're on book 7.
Yeah.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2 and 3.
Literally. Help me.
And 3.
I'll say mine if you want to agree with me. I'm going to say Harry for not just because he existed in this, but for this simple fact that
He didn't clean his bag.
okay, actually that bumps him way down.
Ooh,
Actually, I kind of forgot about
a
that.
nasty
That's
tamale.
the grossest moment in the whole chapter. We'll do a gross moment of the chapter at this point going forward. I love Harry because even though everything the Dursleys have done evilly to him, and we have tons of theories about that, he still talked to the Dursleys, and he still would possibly go save them if they were taken captive
He's
or
trying to
hostage.
protect them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like he's actually trying to protect these people who were some of the most evil people that have ever treated Harry. Like maybe Umbridge and Voldemort have treated him worse. Maybe Draco has treated him worse. But they're up there. They're breaking top 5 of people who have treated Harry poorly. And Harry still would save them, which is
Insane.
incredible.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
How could John steal it from you? Oh my goodness.
How did I know? Legilimency. That's what
Read
I'm
my
performing
mind.
legilimency right now. You're tired. It's easy to,
I know. To the audience, I am sorry. I work 10-hour days with children, so I'm a little tired at the end of
And
the
then
day.
she comes and she works with us children. Me and Danny talking about these theories back and
Come
forth.
on,
She's
you
like,
just speak about you two.
yeah. All right, that was favorite characters. Favorite moment.
I already said it.
Yep, the Dudley moment.
Yeah. That was really sweet and unexpected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah,
though
I
he
think
didn't
so,
say
too.
anything the whole summer.
I know. Even though it's like we're like Hestia Jones. We're like,
But look at his
What did he
example of his parents.
Yep.
yeah.
He doesn't know how to like actually say something nice to Harry, so that was the equivalent.
And
Yeah.
isn't that what Dumbledore said? Like, look what they've done to this poor boy or something? Like, somebody said that at some point talking about
Yeah.
the Dursleys and Dudley.
Dumbledore said it.
Yeah, like,
Dudley
Dudley's a
said that-
victim.
Yeah, Dudley, or he said that Harry was the lucky one. Harry's lucky, and Dudley has fallen further victim to the parents.
Yep.
I want to know what Dudley's change of heart was.
Yeah, right.
It's for him to go against his parents.
It
Right.
was even cute, like the tea that he left out for Harry.
I know.
Yeah.
Then when I was like,
What was I was confused.
oh my
The
word.
tea?
That too.
yeah, because when Harry, the chapter opens with his bloody
Yeah.
hand, so he stumbles on tea and he says, oh yeah, Dudley probably left it as a booby trap for me so I'd make a mess.
Oh, but
Or
he,
like break
left it
something
at
and get
the
yelled at or whatever.
doorstep.
Yeah, and then Harry
Yeah,
thinks
yeah.
later, he's like, wait, maybe it wasn't a booby trap. Maybe that was him being really nice. And then I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
so sweet.
I would
He
love.
probably was thinking about him the whole time.
Yeah,
And
Right.
was waiting for him to come back.
But he's
so he
just in
can
his
thank
room.
Him, but he doesn't know how to.
so
to
true.
thank
Such a good
him.
point.
He didn't know how to use words, so he does actions
This is so
instead.
random, but didn't it say Dudley was muscled?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
No longer
muscular.
a whale.
He's big, yeah.
And he was
He's a-
trying to put barbells in the car and stuff. How like he's working
Yes,
out.
I missed
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, he was trying to
What
put his
has
barbells in the car,
changed?
his dumbbells in the car. I would love fan fiction. I'm sure there is fan fiction about Dudley's change of heart, because if he's doing these small things, like it wasn't just this change of heart in the moment of like, wow, wait, because he's like he doesn't understand when they're leaving. He keeps saying, I don't understand. Like, why are we leaving Harry behind? It's like this doesn't make sense. He's like a little thick, but the fact that he's leaving tea out for him is just a really lovely moment. That's probably maybe my favorite moment, because it's like he was evil toward Harry for his entire childhood, and he's probably realizing that as he's becoming an adult. Like, not that you're not culpable for the things that you did when you were a child, but like he's coming into the same age as Harry. He's like coming to his maturity, and he realizes how poorly he treated him, and he's trying to make it up to him in the smallest little ways, like of leaving tea for him and like, you know, befriending him in certain ways and saying he's not always his face, which isn't that significant, but you know, it's lovely
But
for
in
Dudley.
context,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yep.
Like projecting, if they spent another few summers together, I could actually see them becoming friends,
Yep.
which is
But also
kind of lovely.
probably was hard because didn't that whole incident, he was going back to school, Harry, with the Dementor and Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
That happened. Then he goes to Hogwarts and he's there for the whole semesters, both
Yep.
semesters, and the winter break. And then he comes back for summer. So that's a long time of like not seeing the person that like saved your life, and then you're like kind of in shock of, oh, they're back, and how do I deal with this?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a great point.
sorry. Going on. Did
Yeah,
you
was
say
that all
your
of our favorite moment?
I did say the Dudley thing because I think it's memorable, but I think the eulogy as a whole, it was like Harry reading it, so I don't know if it counts as a moment really, but that was my favorite part probably and most memorable.
Yeah.
In a different way. So maybe I'll say the eulogy, finding about Dumbledore's past, which we've actively or passively been wanting to know for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And who is our hot tamale? There could be a few hot tamales in this.
Hestia?
Yeah, some people are throwing at Hestia Jones and Daedalus Diggle as hot tamales. Some people are throwing at Rita Skeeter as a hot tamale for coming up with 900 pages in 4 weeks, which is an accomplishment. She kind of is a hot tamale.
Yeah.
I just don't like her.
The journalist who wrote the profile on Rita Skeeter, she's a hot tamale. She's a good writer.
She was a good writer, and I thought she was like kind of balanced. She was given a little bit of a chance for a comeback there. Some debate. I'm gonna still say Dudley. Dudley hot tamale, since it wasn't my favorite.
Wow, Dudley winning a hot tamale award. That's crazy.
Yep, never thought I'd see the day.
I don't know. I don't have one. Sirius Black mirror.
Because it was a good gift that there's more to it.
The eye in the mirror.
The eye.
That's this. The hot tamale is
sexy eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything different.
All right.
I could be a thing now.
Kristen, you have hot tamale?
Hestia.
Hestia?
Yeah.
Yeah. For what reason?
Who is that, though?
I'm gonna make you
She was the woman with Daedalus, yeah. Someone came pick them up.
Okay,
No,
I'll give
she
you the
was-
reason because she says,
She was defending
Yeah.
Harry.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, he didn't say I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were pretty much like,
She was
pretty much
feisty
in
about
Dudley's words,
it. Mhm.
he's saying I love you.
Yeah. That's why.
I'm gonna give my hot tamale to Dudley, or no, I'm gonna give it to Petunia. You know,
Whoa.
because there's a little bit of mystery with Petunia that you don't know what she's gonna say. And
There is
I like a
mystery.
little mystery to a woman, you know.
Very
she's
mysterious.
hot tamale.
A lot of mystery.
It depends on what she was gonna say for me.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
But it's saucy all the same.
And you just don't know what she's gonna say. She
Hmm.
could say something completely off the cuff, but do you think that we're ever gonna know what she says? Last all thing. Sorry, I don't want to keep prolonging this.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna stay for another hour,
Yay!
guys.
I think we're gonna find out, but I'm not convinced we're gonna find out from her. Something about the way it ended, it did feel kind of final to me. Like it felt like I was saying my goodbyes to the Dursleys as they left. I felt like this was it.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a throwaway line at the end of the book, but I wouldn't be surprised if Harry learns about what she might have said through some other means.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't think we're going to see him again.
This is the end for the Dursleys. We'll see as we keep on reading, but thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, someone's got to do that.
Woo!
It's always interesting
Someone,
to edit
but
that.
not
Do I
me.
leave it in? Do I cut it out? Where's the gap in between it?
You never make it to the end of the podcast.
I usually leave it in, but it depends. Sometimes I'll put it at like we do like the end, and then we do the music, and then
The
I'll put
real
it in
end.
like the real end.
Mm.
The end.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are the best. And thank you again to James Zawowski.
James
Becoming
Zawowski.
a hot tamale.
He's the only hot tamale.
yeah.
Honestly,
Mike-
Jen's going to give her hot tamale to James.
Yeah,
we
let's give it
go.
to James
Zawowski.
Zawowski, the hot
Yep.
tamale. It's like Mike
I was
Wazowski.
just gonna say
It really
that.
is.
Oh, man, he probably got that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
You're related to one of the
Uncle Mike.
coolest animated characters of all times, James. Mike Wazowski.
Who's that?
Monsters Inc.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen Monsters, Inc., right?
Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right.
recognize the name, but I couldn't.
I
Yeah.
was just think of the librarian.
Put
saying
that
it.
thing
She's
back
like,
where
"Mike
it came from, or
Wazowski."
so help me.
Don't know that.
It's the musical they're writing in
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc. It's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
Come on.
Right now?
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me.
And cut. The plan is we're gonna live read the next 2 chapters,
Ooh.
but I don't know if we're gonna do a live discussion after it. We might live read them and then give a little downtime and then live discuss them.
I feel like that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
And we'll alternate, because I will say in this book, not every chapter is scintillating. Like these two that they gave us some information, but they like had a lot more questions. So there are some chapters that are good ones. Like these two to me felt like a good digest chapter.
Yeah.
Like let's think about Dumbledore and let's like I feel like every chapter has something to it. Some are like quick paced and like we want to do a live read for them, and some are just going to be like I want to sit on my own and just read this and like think through it so I can have better thoughts on a podcast.
Yep.
So the next two we'll do are like, because we're doing a live read, they're a little bit more action packed. So
nice.
there you go, Jen. Action packed stuff coming your way. So we'll probably do it the next two. We'll figure out a time we're going to do that sometime next week, and then we'll go from there. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm going to end the stream. You guys are the best, as always. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Or good morning, depending on where you are.
Yeah, good night.
Goodbye.
Good morning. What does Jim Carrey say? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Or
Yeah, I
good
think
morning.
so,
In case
yeah.
I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Truman Show?
Truman Show, one of the greatest.
that's right.
Such a good movie. Love that movie.
So good. Wait, is that one of the ones you haven't seen, Jen?
I've seen it.
Oh, good.
Ah,
We're trying to come up with a real good movie list. And
nice.
More you haven't seen that I have.
oh, yeah, exactly. Like both of us that like the other person hasn't seen. Like, oh, that's a classic
I'm
movie.
saying like our list, I think, is more of my
What?
ones that you didn't see.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay,
because
yeah.
it's a combo list.
Mine are a lot of Disney ones, like The Nightmare Before Christmas.